What's going on, Vikings fans? Welcome in the Vikings Now by Chat Sports. My name is Patrick Siepman, and you guys are joining in for our weekly live show where we break down the latest on your Minnesota Vikings. And we got a lot of big-time NFL news to discuss today. The owners were meeting in the Minneapolis area, and they made some big-time decisions on the Tush push, playoff reseeding. So we'll dive into all that on today's show. But if you guys love the Minnesota Vikings, give me a skull down below in the comments section, and we give you guys some shout-outs. We got United Mexican States in the building with a new name. Shout out to you, Brody, typing his skulls. GR8V7 typing skulls. Shout out to you, man, for tuning in. And Roger Bong back in the house. What's going on, Raj? Shout out to you, Brody. Christopher in the building. Theo, be careful. Munkus, T Sugar, Joey Tana, a bunch of real ones in the house. If there's anybody waiting on any giveaway stuff from the NFL draft, checked with this shipping department today. It should get to you shortly. I know there's 2 items specifically that had a little bit of a delay, but it will get to you guys soon. So just wanted to get that out there. But Garrett Russborough in the house saying skull. BBQG saying skull. Benny P here. Hashtag Wolves in 5. Yeah, disappointing game for Timberwolves fans yesterday. I know a lot of the conversation around SGA, the foul merchant he is, but my biggest gripe with that game yesterday was Ant was not as aggressive as I would have wanted them to be. He took 1 shot in the fourth quarter. He had 7 total drives in the entire game. And out of it, all of the shots he took, the average distance was 25.8 feet, which is by far the highest in his playoff career, actually by 2 whole feet. So Ant needs to be more aggressive. Disappointing loss yesterday, but also all the role players for the Timberwolves could not buy a bucket. Nas, Dante, and Nickeil Alexander-Walker, I think they were 5 of 31 from downtown. Mike Conley couldn't hit a shot. It was just a disastrous performance for the Timberwolves. But I do think they'll bounce back. I think they'll win game 2. I think it's going to be 1-1 going back to Minnesota, and then I think we'll get to a point in this series where it is 2-2 game 5 back in Oklahoma City. I still got the T-Wolves in 7. Well, we'll see. It's Carson saying the series is so tough to watch as a Vikings and Thunder fan. That's hilarious. That's an interesting matchup right there, Carson. Shout out to you. I thought this was Vikings news. We got Vikings news coming your way, and let me ask you guys this question and welcome in producer Dylan to the live show. Should the NFL have banned the Tush push? If you guys did not get the news earlier today, it is going to be staying in the NFL for 1 more year. But you guys let me know. Should the NFL ban it? Y for yes, N for no. Dylan, do you have any strong thoughts on the Tush push at all, or you just kind of, Sweden, just, don't really care?
I think for the NFL in years to come, it will be gone.
Yeah.
I think this was just the lucky chance for the Eagles that they got it for another year.
Yep.
But eventually it's going to go away. Yeah,
I think I agree with you. I think it will probably be, if not next offseason, for sure the offseason after. They'll probably end up banning it. I'm kind of in between on banning the Tush push. I don't think they should, if they have the thought process of it's such a dominant play, we need to get rid of it. I don't think that should be even in the process of, what they're thinking. But if they actually do view it as it could, lead to more injuries, I understand that. But the one gripe I have with the Tush push is just the aesthetics of it. It is not a pleasing play to watch whatsoever. It is necessarily rugby. But also, the Eagles, they leaned into it. They should be able to reap the benefits of constructing a team around it. Dylan, do you actually want to pull up that one photo I have? We'll talk about this on a show coming up here in about 15 minutes. But when I was just thinking about the Tush push, and a lot of Vikings fans saw this online today, the one most famous Tush push for us Vikings fans came against the Bengals. It was that Saturday afternoon game. I remember I was extremely hungover. We had a company party Friday night, and I was so hungover watching this game. And this was in overtime, 24-24. And Kevin O'Connell, he decides to go with think about this Tush push. The center's Garrett Bradbury, undersized. Nick Mullins is your quarterback. And then you had 5'8" wide receiver Brandon Powell being the guy that pushes Nick Mullins. This was one of the moments where I actually thought Kevin O'Connell, maybe he was hammered on the sidelines or something. Or maybe it was supposed to be Josh Oliver in Brandon Powell's position or something. I just could not comprehend that Kevin O'Connell went to a Tush push led by Garrett Bradbury, Nick Mullins, and Brandon Powell. It was ridiculous. But we do have a real one coming in the building. Garrett Russborough, what's going on, man? Shout out to you, Brody. Been a minute. Can't wait to hear JJ to JJ for a touchdown. Skull Nation forever. Everybody show Garrett some love down below in the live chat. Give me a skull, Garrett. Yeah, I'm definitely fired up. I don't think we'll get that in the preseason. I just think there's no chance Jefferson plays. 100% I think JJ will play McCarthy, but I think this will come hopefully week 1, Monday night, opening drivers, the Chicago Bears, a little play action, 35-yard bomb to Justin Jefferson. That would be awesome. But, Garrett, I appreciate you, man, for supporting the show as always and just being a real one, holding it down in the live chat. So shout out to Garrett. Give me a skull, Garrett, down below. But let me ask you guys this. So I do this every once in a while. We try to get weird here. Get the brain turning a little bit. Name a random Vikings player for me. So I'm not talking to Adrian Petersons, Jeffersons, all those big-time names. I'm talking weird players, random Vikings. I don't know why Toby Gerhart just popped in my mind, even though he's not too random. Dylan, could I interest you in some Matt Asiata? Asiata was a dog. Matt Burke is a good one. It could be current or all-time. You guys name one. Like Duke Shelley, that's a good one. Kirk Cousins, you can get more random than that. Get more weird than Kirk Cousins, United Mexican States. Dylan, do you got a random Viking? Obviously not a Vikes fan. I'm just curious if you got any that came to the top of your mind here.
The one that came right away was Cordero Patterson.
Cordero Patterson. Oh, Dylan, you're speaking to my heart right there. That's one of my favorite Vikings players of all time.
That kickoff return to begin his career was legendary.
Yep. God, Cordero Patterson. Still kicking it in the NFL. I think he might still be at the Steelers or he's a free agent right now. But he was at the Steelers last year. Actually got some rushes in the playoff game for Pittsburgh, so that was cool. We got Keith Miller. That's a good one coming in from Rogers. Joe Catt, Bill Brown, Scott Studwell, John Randall, Chad Greenway, Warren Moon, Tommy Craner, Joey Tana. I like that one. Latavius Murray's a good one. Max Brosmer. Yeah, that's a random Viking. We'll count it. Darren Nelson. Yeah, that's a good one, T-Sugar. I'm trying to think of other ones like Phil Loldholt. He was a legend for me. Who's that one tight end during the Favre years? Sleeping on his first name, but Kleinsaucer. You guys know what I'm talking about. Rock number 40. He's up there. Is it on my end? I'm only seeing half the screen right in the middle. That might be on your end, Buddy Bear. I think we look good on our end. Maybe just reset the app. But shout out to you for tuning in. Brock Lesnar, Vikings legend. Never forget. Jeff Duggan. I'm trying to think of more here. Like I was going to say Percy Harvin, but I don't think he's too random. I think in like 15 years, Sam Bradford would be an elite answer to this. Floppy sleeves of Bradford. Shante Shanko. That's a good one. Love Shanko. Fran Tarkenton, Sidney Rice. Jim Kleinsaucer. That's what I was thinking of. Shout out to Fig Beller in the chat. Yeah, Jim Kleinsaucer. What a name for a tight end. Hopefully 6th-round pick this year. Gavin Bartholomew will follow suit with cool last names at the tight end position for the Vikes. But I'm trying to think of like a Trey Waynes. What about a little Mike Hughes if we're going to the secondary? Terrence Newman, Mike Zimmer's favorite 5'7" corner of all time. Ahmad Rashad, that's a good one. Toby Gerhart, Sweet Prince Toby, love that. From Ashanti. Trying to get you guys one more, and then we'll move on here. Another random Viking. I'm trying to think of recent years here. Oh my God, who is the Dylan? You might know this. Who is the guy on the Bengals? He did a backflip into the end zone. His name was like Simpson. He was on the. I think it might have been Jerome Simpson. He was on the Vikings for a year, and then I was also thinking of. Oh my God, who is the wide receiver 3? Jarius Wright. Jarius Wright's another name. Gary Anderson, Roger. Yeah, Jerome Simpson. Yes, yeah. Because the Vikings signed him the year after he had that crazy play. That was awesome. Also, Roger, you say Gary Anderson one more time. Might have to get you out of the building, Brody. Charles Johnson. Blair Walsh. Jarvis Redwine. I don't even know who that is. That's a random Viking. All right, one more. This is just too fun. I've said one more about 3 times. I just want to think of one more. Chuck Foreman. Yeah, Jerome Simpson. I'm trying to think of the weird wide receivers the Vikings have had. Oh, man. Aldrick Robinson. How about that? CJ Ham. Trying to think here. I could literally spend the next hour of this live stream just naming random Vikings with you guys. We are at that point of the offseason, and I love it. Fred Smoot. That's a good one, Mike. Robert Ferguson. Sammy White. I love that one, Stefan. Vikings deep game hasn't been the same since Aldrick Robinson. Was it that Rams game, Aldrick Robinson, that one Thursday night when Anthony Barr, I remember he got cooked on like 2 wheel routes that both went to the house. But I'm pretty sure Aldrick Robinson had 2 touchdowns in that game. Go the Williams brothers. I'm trying to think who's going to be a random Viking from this 2025 team. Jeff Okuda could eventually be a random Viking. Jake Reed, I love that. I was at that Thursday night game. Oh, in LA? Yeah, that was a crazy game. I remember that was a shootout. Yeah, in the Coliseum. That was awesome. Jarvis Redwine, RB out in Nebraska. Yeah, never heard of him. That's a good one right there. Appreciate you. Tyler Conklin, the GOAT. Love Conk. Levi Drake Rodriguez, that'll be a random Viking. Tommy Hill, everybody's favorite practice squad, or not even a practice squad corner, a training camp invite corner. Lockdown Travis Hunter. That's all I'm gonna say. All right, I think that was good. I'm gonna spend too much time on this, Dylan. We gotta move on. All right, if you guys got a question for me, we got a mailbag coming up. If you ask a question, name a random Viking. We might spend 10 minutes on that question. So if you guys got anything you want to ask around the Minnesota Vikings, hashtag Vikings in the live chat or super chat down below, like a couple of real ones already did. But I do appreciate all of you guys for tuning in. It's going to be a fun show. So hashtag Vikings in the live chat. If you guys got a question for me, Fig Beller, you're young, you'll learn. I was thinking about that the other day, Fig. A little side note here on this live show. I was thinking about where I'm going to be in 10 years. So I'm 25 right now. I turned 26 in October. When I'm 35, the amount of knowledge I'm going to have on the Minnesota Vikings, and knowing the history of the Vikings, I might end up hating this team in 10 years just because of the mental struggles I'm probably going to go through for the next 10 seasons. But I was just thinking, like, man, the amount of just, like, random players I'm going to know, especially just covering the team, you're just like, I mean, every day of my life, I'm thinking about the Vikings 6 hours a day. You stack that up over 10 years. I mean, I'm going to be a sicko about it. But Mike saying DJ Dozier. What about Dakota Dozier? How about that? One of the worst guards in NFL history. Ed Ingram's going to be a random Viking in a couple years. Like Cam Robinson. I've been a fan all my life, 50 years, Mukas. I am envious of you. I don't know if I'm envious of you. That was a tough 50 years. That is a tough stretch. A lot of good teams, just no great teams for the Vikings. Also, I saw something. It made me sick to my stomach. Minnesota sports teams in conference championship series or games, we haven't won a conference championship, I think, since it was the Twins in 91, maybe. Like, you think about just the Vikings, for example. 2017 lose. 2009 lose. The Gary Anderson year. I'm sleeping on what exact year that was. But that's a loss. That was a loss. And then even like the Timberwolves last year. Vikings just have had bad luck. Haven't had a team. Yeah, 91 was the last championship appearance. Not even win, just appearance for a Minnesota sports team. So hopefully the Timberwolves break that seal, and then the floodgates are just open, and the Vikings hop in the bowl next season. Yeah, El Jefe, I'm 38. Conference championship games / series losses is all I know. I feel bad, guys. It's sorry for bringing that up. But again, if you guys got a question for me, please help us out. Moonkus, get a question in there. T-Sugar, Fig Beller, all of you guys, hashtag Vikings. Ask whatever you want around the Vikes, or if you guys got a freaking Timberwolves question, I'd love to chop it up about them as well. So ask a question, hashtag Vikings, or super chat to guarantee your spot on the show. All right, coming up, though, we got some major NFL news. We're going to break down the Tush Push, playoff reseeding. Also, a cool new award for offensive linemen, which Christian Darrisaw might win next season, so we'll talk about that. And then I also got 5 breakout candidates for our Minnesota Vikings. 5 guys I think could just take that next step in their NFL career, and cannot wait to dive into it. But then also mailbag, so Use hashtag Vikings down below in the live chat. I'd really, really appreciate it. If you guys are ready to rock and roll with me, hit that thumbs up icon. We're 4 likes away from 25. If you guys could, smash that thumbs up button. Get us to 25 likes, and we'll get to Roger Bong's super chat. Then we'll dive into the first segment here. Shout out to Raj. But if you guys could, hit that thumbs up icon. Really, really appreciate it. Gets this stream out to more and more Vikings fans. So go down there, click that button. And once you guys do, just type Skull down below in the live chat. Moonkus giving Roger Bong some love. Sharif Floyd's a good random Viking. Shout out to Mike for that one. Love that answer. Appreciate you, GR8V7, for getting a question in there. Again, hashtag Vikings to get up on the show, but I'd appreciate it. T Sugar coming in. What's going on, Brody? I think it's good that they're keeping the tush push in. Remember, part of the ban also included any type of player assisting another moving forward. Yeah, they changed the verbiage of the rule for this new voting they just had. I think they needed 2 more votes to get it banned, but only 22 teams voted against it. Vikings were one of those, but we will share the 10 teams that did vote in favor of keeping the tush push. But yeah, I'm with you. I think it's fine. I'm not going to get on here and say, like, oh, this is an unfair advantage to the Eagles, because you got to learn how to stop it. And Ben Lieber was actually talking about that on Twitter, and I agreed with what he was saying. But T-Sugar, I appreciate you, man. Shout out to you, Brody. And then Roger Bong coming in. What's going on? Who would you sign if you had one more signing left for this team? Must be under the cap. That's a great question. I'll talk about that more on the mailbag. But one more signing, probably want to go corner. Like Rasul Douglas, Asante Samuel. I'll throw another one out here. I know it's not a position need by any means, but I'll be kind of in on Keenan Allen, especially if Addison does get suspended 3 games. He becomes your wide receiver 2. I mean, then you would have an elite 3 wide receiver set of Keenan Allen, Addison, and Jefferson when he's back. So maybe Keenan, but if I had to pick one, even though the medicals look bad for Asante, I'd still probably go with Asante Samuel Jr. But I don't think the Vikings will make any more moves to get under the cap, so we'll see. Chris, what's going on? Have the Vikings ever had this many national televised games, 7 or 8? I don't think so. I think this is the most ever, having 7 standalone games, which is pretty crazy. I mean, the NFL's betting big on the Vikes this year. Call it like it is, which is good spot to be in. Good spot to be in. But we're gonna dive into the show. Talk about some NFL news that impacts our Minnesota Vikings. As Moonk is saying, I'm really excited to see that 3rd-round wide receiver. I am too. Ty Felton looks legit. He looks a lot bigger than a lot of people thought, at least the guys that were at rookie minicamp. So that's going to be awesome to see. But yeah, I'm super fired up about this season, and preseason is going to be a lot of fun too. You get to see Sam Howell, JJ McCarthy toss the pill. Vikings have always been really deep at wide receiver. You got to give a lot of credit to Keenan Cardell for that one. So excited to watch all these guys play. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be a lot of fun. But we're at 28 likes right now. Appreciate you guys hitting that thumbs up button. If you guys haven't already, please do so. And once you hit that thumbs up icon, just give me a skull down below for I know all the real ones that like the video. But we're going to dive into the first segment on today's show. Let's get after it. Let's do it. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Vikings Now by Chat Sports. I'm your host, Patrick Siepman, and coming up on today's show, we're going to talk about the latest NFL news that impacts the Minnesota Vikings, playoff reseeding, the tush push, a new NFL Offensive Lineman Award that potentially Christian Darrisaw could win, so we'll break that all down. And then also with OTA starting next week, I want to go over 5 storylines that I'm going to be watching during those practices. But before we dive into it, one of my favorite things to do here on the channel is I'll randomly ask you guys on a show to just get down in the comment section and name a random Vikings player. We do this part of our live shows a lot, and the answers I get are absolutely awesome. So if you guys could name a random Vikings player down below. For me, I'll go Aldrick Robinson. Let's see if anybody can top that one. But you guys name a random Vikings player down below. All right, so there's a lot of talk, specifically coming in from the Lions here. They were going to propose a change in the seeding in the playoffs, where they were going to reseed how it kind of goes down, where even if, for example, last year, if the Vikings, them winning 14 games, they still had to go and have a road playoff game. Technically, with the new Lions proposal, the Vikings would have been the 2 seed in the conference, no matter what of divisions. But in terms of this, the Lions withdrawing their playoff reseeding proposal, I think this is the right call because I think this is different than any other sport, like especially, the NBA, MLB, NHL, where, winning your division just matters so much more. And I think this was the right call because, I think we had such a special game last year in Week 18 where it's like Vikings versus the Lions, and it was for the number 1 seed, and then the loser, could have potentially dropped to the 5th seed. Now, yes, with this proposal, that game still would have been massive just because you're playing for that bye, a lot on the line, but that game felt so big because it's like, if you lose that game, which the Vikings did, you got to go play a road playoff game against the Rams. That was not an easy game. Vikings got their ass kicked in that one. So I think this is the right call, not changing the reseeding in the playoffs. And, could you imagine, this is how it shook out last year? Pretty much you would move the Vikings up to the 2 line. Packers would move up, and I think they would be playing the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at home. So, yes, if you're going off last year, this would have been a big advantage for the Vikings. But then you would have hopped right down, had probably a home game in the divisional. That would have been pretty sweet. But, again, I'm not just going to say, they need to change this rule just because the Vikings kind of got screwed last year. I still think it was the right call. Winning the division matters in my eyes. So, shout out to the Lions for not making that proposal today. But also some more big-time news. The Tush push will live to see another year. They almost were able to ban it for next season, but they're actually 2 votes short. And any time I think of the Tush push, I don't think of the Philadelphia Eagles. I think of a game in Cincinnati against the Bengals on a Saturday in overtime. Set the scene here. It is overtime, 6 minutes left. The Vikings are driving down the field, and before this, it was a 3rd and 1 situation. Vikings get stopped on the Tush push. So what does Kevin O'Connell go to next? We're going to bring in 5'8" wide receiver Brandon Powell to push Nick Mullins behind Garrett Bradbury. If I had to rank, and I am so confident in this, if there was a compilation of all the Tush pushes ran in the NFL since it became a play, I promise you this is the worst one ever executed. I was seriously sitting there on our live show questioning if Kevin O'Connell, if he had something to drink before the game or something, because I couldn't comprehend that in KOC how smart he is. He knows more football than I will ever know in my life, that this guy decided to go to a Nick Mullins, Brandon Powell, Garrett Bradbury tush push. I mean, it was absolutely criminal out of KOC, but probably the worst play call of his career. It's either this one or the Jefferson pass in the wild card game, 4th and 1, backed up in your own territory. That was a terrible call as well. But here were the teams that voted against the tush push ban, so these guys are in favor of the tush push. Obviously, the Eagles are up there. Makes a lot of sense. Ravens, physical football team makes sense. Same with the Browns, physical team. Lions makes sense. Don't understand the Jags, why they wanted to keep it, or the Dolphins. I think if you had to rank the least physical team in the NFL, Dolphins probably at the top of that list, so that doesn't make sense. Saints makes sense. Kellen Moore. Jets having Justin Fields, they're probably thinking that could be an advantage for them. Titans don't really understand as well, but yeah, those are 10 teams that voted to keep the tush push this season. And then also some awesome news here. The NFL is introducing a new annual award, Protector of the Year, which will honor the league's top offensive lineman. Christian Darrisaw, you want to win Comeback Player of the Year and the Protector of the Year award. Also, the name of that is perfect, Protector of the Year. I think the NFL did a great job, but shout out to Deion Dawkins. He was actually at the front of this, and I believe Joe Thomas. They were the guys pushing for that award, so I love that. I think it's to be Christian Darrisaw and Penei Sewell battling it out for that award every single season. But some more news in the NFL here. Hard Knocks. It's not going to be going to the Vikings. It'll actually be going to the Buffalo Bills. And then the in-season Hard Knocks will be the NFC East. So this year, no Hard Knocks for the Minnesota Vikings. I've always been in the camp where, yes, Hard Knocks may be a distraction somewhat, but if you're still a well-run organization, you can, have that not be an issue. So I've always wanted the Vikings to do Hard Knocks. Maybe they will eventually, but I'll ask you guys this. Would you want the Vikings to do Hard Knocks? I know some people are like, absolutely not. It's a distraction, and I totally understand that. But I've always been in the camp of, you know what, let's do it. It would be cool to get behind-the-scenes look of just how KOC, Flores, all these guys run their practices. But what say you on this one? Would you want the Vikings to do Hard Knocks? Coming up next here on the show, top storylines to follow during OTAs that start next week. There's a lot of battles at big-time positions for this Vikings team. So we'll break it all down here on today's show. But before we do so, I do want to give a massive shout-out to today's presenting sponsor, and that is Prize Picks. Now, if you guys download the Prize Picks app today and plug in promo code CONS, you guys will get $50 instantly after you put your first $5 lineup. That's code CONS to get $50 instantly after you put your first $5 lineup. Now, the basketball playoffs are here, and the action is heating up on Prize Picks. It's the best place to cash in on your favorite sports. And don't miss your last chance to add your favorite players from the court to your Prize Picks lineup, whether it's points, rebounds, assists. Take your pick of more or less for your shot to win up to 2,000 times your cash today. I'll tell you what, I'll be taking the more on Anthony Edwards points in Game 2 versus the Thunder. And I might even sprinkle in a little Jaden McDaniels more on three-pointers made. But, hey, if you guys want to create a lineup for the basketball playoffs, do so with Prize Picks. And we got a deal for you guys where if you download the app and plug in promo code CONS, you guys will get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. It's code CONS to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. A massive shout out to Prize Picks for sponsoring today's show. Prize Picks. Run your game. All right, let's talk about the top storylines I'm going to be looking at here with OTAs just around the corner. Number one, I'm going to be keeping my eyes out on the wide receiver 3 battle. Now, we obviously know top 2 dogs, Jefferson, Jordan Addison, not going anywhere, but that wide receiver 3 spot is wide open. I think it's going to be a 3-man competition between Jalen Nailor, Ty Felton, and Rondo Moore. I don't think any other guy really has a chance to crack that spot. I think the Vikings have a solid 5 up there, but I think it's really going to come down to if Ty Felton's ready to roll and he looks legit, I think he'll get it. Because with the Vikings only having, heading into the draft with 4, obviously left with 5 picks, they weren't just going to use one of their premium draft picks on a guy if they didn't truly believe in him as a player. And I think they do. I think they view Ty Felton as a guy that could be the wide receiver 3 of the future. And then let's just say Addison, stuff goes wrong with his contract extension talks. Like, they're probably viewing this guy as he could be wide receiver 2 insurance. And, him playing next to Jefferson, Addison, Keenan Cardell as his coach, I think this is a guy that's got all types of untapped potential. Vikings are the one team that has always gotten the most out of these wide receivers over the last 15, honestly, out of the last 25 years in the NFL. So I think he's going to have a great career in Minnesota. If I had to call it right now, Ty Felton will be wide receiver 3. But then there's also a battle at the cornerback 2 spot. Byron Murphy, he's top dog. He can play inside, outside corner. They'll line him up everywhere. But then besides that, I would assume Isaiah Rodgers gets this nod at first just because he's a veteran, played really, really well for the Eagles this past season. But then it's like a guy like Mekhi Blackman. If he, coming off that torn ACL, looks really good in training camp, has a good year, I could see, him getting that spot. And you also got a guy like Jeff Okudah, former top 5 pick, all types of talent in his game. Can Flores get the most out of him? He could potentially be a sneaky cornerback too here. And then also Dwight McGlothern, UDFA out of Arkansas. Not sure if he'll ever crack it, but he would definitely be in consideration for that spot. And then number 3 for me, I got J.J. McCarthy's health. And what I really mean by that, I don't think he's going to have a reset whatsoever, but I think it's just if he even just gets banged up a little bit, I think we're going to obviously be concerned. But I have zero concerns on his health right now, but it's definitely something all of us Vikings fans should monitor because our backup quarterback, Sam Howell, it's not like we got I don't even know who would be a top backup quarterback in the league right now, or a Jameis Winston or, one of these top, or a Gardner Minshew, a guy we'd feel a lot more comfortable stepping in. Listen, you got Sam Howell, or even if we would have kept Daniel Jones, it would have been catastrophic if McCarthy has to miss a game or 2, but as it stands right now, I think it would. So, again, zero concerns on this, but just something to monitor throughout this entire offseason. Then also the safety rotation. Now, the Vikings, they run that bandit defense a whole lot. They got 3 safeties on the field 97% of the time, and, most of these safeties for the Vikings end up playing just, de facto box linebacker. But assuming these 3 are going to be the guys getting a majority of the reps here, I think Theo is probably going to play 1,000 snaps this season. Same with Metellus, same with Smith. But besides this, is it a guy like Jay Ward? Is he going to have to step up if Harrison Smith, has to go down for a game or 2? Obviously, older guy, I think, 16 seasons so far for Harrison Smith, which is unreal. But I don't know. I'm just kind of thinking about the guy after these three. Who's going to step up in training camp? Who's going to step up during OTAs? So just keep your eyes out on that. And also just the offensive scheme for a guy KOC. And, I'm not saying you're going to get a great look at this during OTAs because, honestly, I don't even think we'll get a great look at this during the preseason. Probably going to be more, during the regular season first couple of weeks, like how different it's going to look. But is he investing more in the run game? Is he, adding more of a quick passing game, which a lot of us, would have hoped he would at the tail half of last season. So just watching little changes that KOC's making. Maybe there's some read options in there with JJ McCarthy. I think people are really undervaluing his legs. But mainly just seeing who's getting the RB1 reps. Probably still going to be Aaron Jones, but maybe Jordan Mason, take some during training camp. We'll just have to wait and see. But those are 5 things I'm watching during OTAs. But hey, if you guys made it to the end of today's show, hit me with a skull down below in the comments section. We appreciate all of you guys for watching today's episode of Vikings Now by Chat Sports. Shout out to all of you guys for tuning in, and we will see you guys next time. As always, Skol Vikes. Roger Bong coming in with a $10 super chat while we were live. Get that up on screen here in a sec. But just saying, what alcohol be best for purple Jello shots? I don't know. Smirnoff coming in from El Jefe. I think just whatever cheap vodka you got. Maybe. I really don't have a good answer for that. Never made Jello shots in my life, Roger, funny enough. So, Corey Miller, what's going on, man? Miss you too. Z Cool saying tequila. Z Cool's in the building. A legend. Shout out to you, man. Appreciate you for tuning in. But yeah, Roger coming in with that $10 super chat. Shout out to you, Raj. Legend here on the channel. I think we're entering our 3rd season together, Roger. That's absolutely crazy. Thank you so much for supporting the show. Shout out to you. But we are going to be diving into some breakout candidates for the Minnesota Vikings. So appreciate everybody for tuning in. But if you guys do have a question, hashtag Vikings in the live chat or super chat to get up on the show, just like my man Roger Bong did. We're going to need a couple of more questions in the live chat right now. So hashtag Vikings or super chat to get up on the show. Corey Gamer Meyer saying, I'm a Thunder fan and I love the Vikings saga. Deserve that MCP. Z Cool saying, no legend, just a supporter of the purple and gold. Shout out to you, Z Cool. That's awesome. Thanks so much, GR8V7. Hopefully these live shows, normally they got normally they get a little more active during the season, but we're in the dog days of the offseason. And hey, fellas, if you guys missed a question off the top of today's show, name a random Vikings player we had some love. SGA deserves that MVP. I meant he 100% did. I understand us Minnesota Timberwolves fans right now are not the biggest fans of SGA, but Thunder won 68 games. He averaged 32 a night. You're going to get the MVP award. I really got no problem with it. I wish the refs would kind of get off his nuts a little bit and let this be a little more physical series because it's physical on one side of the floor. It's just not physical on the other. But, Knicks Pacers. That's going to be that's going to feel like 90s hoops tonight. Roger coming in with another $10 super chat. Appreciate you, man. We'll dive into some breakout candidates here in a sec. Everybody show Roger some love. Give me a skull bong or a skull Roger down below in the live chat. Buy me a new Harley to ride. Is that how? Z Cool? Roger saying, how do we get Z Cool a mod spot? Z Cool wants it. He can have it. I just want Z Cool to enjoy the live shows, though. Roger, you got an important role here on the channel. You get all the bots out, mainly during the watch parties. Those things get out of control. But yeah, how do we get him a mod spot? I think Z Cool's just got to hit me up if he wants it, but don't want to put that pressure on him. If he just wants to hang out, watch a show, that's more than okay. Tristan saying, my heart says Wolves, but being my honest head say Thunder. Yeah, on paper, the Thunder are a wagon of a basketball team. Like, them being able to run Dort, Caruso, Case and Wallace, all these guys, it is absolutely ridiculous. I mean, they really feel like for everybody who's played, like, AAU basketball growing up, they feel like that AAU team you played at 8 a.m. Saturday morning, and they're picking you up 94 feet, and it's just hell in the cell basketball style of game. It's kind of how the Thunder come off to me, but let's see what happens. I think T-Wolves bounce back in game 2. Appreciate you, Raj. We also had Corey Miller, the GOAT. Been 2 weeks since the last live, Pat Sieps. Skull. How have you been keeping? Any worries this season? I've been keeping good, man. Thanks for checking in. Any worries this season? Obviously, you got worries around the quarterback. JJ McCarthy, how could you not? But besides that, not really, man. I'm feeling good about this football team. Yeah, maybe you're saying I'm drinking too much purple Kool-Aid or not, but I'm very confident the Vikings having an extremely high floor next season. Where I honestly think, unless it goes disastrous, I can't see them winning less than 7 games. Maybe their ceiling's not as high, just because it is JJ on a first year starting for this team. But I think it's anywhere between 7 wins to 12 wins. It's probably where the Vikings will land, but they got a tough schedule. I guess that's a worry I have. I mean, even though you should start the season 4-1, but anything can happen, so we'll wait and see. But yeah, Corey, sorry I don't have a good answer for you. Appreciate you tuning in, but all is good in the land of the Minnesota Vikings right now, which is awesome stuff. But again, if you guys got a question, hashtag Vikings down below in the live chat or super chat, just like a bunch of real ones did. I feel like J.A. going to go off this season for the Vikes. I'm with you. I think J.A. is going to have a monster year. Yeah, Cam Ward did sign his rookie contract today. Also, it is so funny when you see these tweets where it's breaking. This player, who's a rookie, signed this contract. They're all set in stone. They can't negotiate these deals. The only thing they can negotiate is signing bonuses, but most of these guys get it all up front. And that was something I remember last year with JJ. You guys remember that ludicrous shit that was coming out where it's JJ McCarthy might hold out if he doesn't get a signing bonus up front? It just ended up being bullshit. But, yeah, we'll see. But we appreciate everybody for tuning in. We got some breakout candidates heading your way here. Shout out to Dan Burns tuning in at work. Appreciate you, man. Corey Miller saying Addison missing 3 games and still hitting 1,000 receiving yards next season would be insane. I think he will. I'll have a little take here, and I don't mean this as a slight to the best receiver in the game. I think he's only going to have about 1,200, 1,300 yards this season. And it's going to be considered a down year. But also, when the playoffs roll around, I think Jefferson's going to have a monster game. But we'll see. Anything can happen. That's the beauty of the sports world. It's watching your favorite TV show and a new episode comes out every week and you have no idea what's going to happen. The NFL, it's a beautiful, beautiful game. It's a beautiful sport to cover. I can't wait. Man. Still got so long. I mean, it is May 21st. I need it, everybody. I need the season here. I just need preseason. Once I get the preseason, I'm cool because then I'm all the way in. All I'm thinking about is, the Vikes and that's fine at that time of the year, but even today I wake up thinking about the Vikings, and it just doesn't matter. We're in the dog days. But NFL does do a good job where, the dog days of the offseason, it's really only, the second half of May. You get OTAs, that juice in there, which would be cool, but then it's, June and July, the summer for the NFL. Those are the real dog days. So, hey, everybody who's tuning in this time of the year, you guys are sickos like me, so I appreciate it. But let's dive into it. Let's talk about some breakout candidates for the Minnesota Vikings. Little fun show. Show some love to some of the underrated players on the team. So let's dive into it. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Vikings Now by Chat Sports. My name is Patrick Siepman, and coming up on today's show, I want to go over 5 breakout candidates I have for the Vikings heading in the next season. Just 5 guys who I think are going to take their game to another level and possibly become household names for not just Vikings fans, but for NFL fans across the league. So before we dive into it and I'll show you guys those 5 players, I'm already thinking about week 1. I'm thinking about the dirty Chicago Bears, Monday night, Soldier Field, J.J. McCarthy, Caleb Williams. I can't wait. And we're taking on our Bears Now channel, which is a wagon here at Chat Sports, over 120,000 subscribers. So we're starting the sub battle for versus them. We're closing in on 57K. If we get at 57K off today's show, that'd be awesome. But I do really appreciate everybody who's hit that subscribe button before. But if you guys haven't, I want a Vikings channel to watch every single day of the offseason. Hit that subscribe button today. So number 1 on my breakout candidates list, I'm going to go the safety, Theo Jackson. If you guys have been watching the show for a while, I've been a massive fan of his game. Even when he was just a practice squad player for the Vikings 2 years ago after they picked him up from the Tennessee Titans. Went to Tennessee where he played his collegiate football, but the Vikings gave him a 3-year, $9.31 million deal this offseason. And after losing Cameron Bynum, you got to assume he is going to be damn near a full-time starter for this group. And I think he has a chance to be really, really impactful. Now, the one thing about Theo Jackson that I love is his versatility. And as we know, Brian Flores, he loves versatile defenders. And even Theo in, limited time last season, he was very impactful. But here's where his snap alignment was. And it was just all over the field. Obviously not a ton of snaps for Theo this past season, but 8 on the defensive line. Now, a lot of that's kind of a fugazi just because of the typical mug look Flores runs where it's like, all right, shit, you got 8 guys lined up on the line of scrimmage. If a safety's down there, it technically counts as a defensive line snap. But you also had him running 19 snaps at box, 32 at free safety, 17 at slot corner. He actually had 1 snap at outside corner this year. So he can play all over the field. But even last year, in very limited action, he was one of the highest graded safeties according to PFF. And 79.2 overall grade. That was 13th. Pass rush, didn't really send him on a whole lot of blitzes, so that's very limited, but still 53.6 grade. Run defense, 65.9. Coverage, fantastic as well. 13th in the league at 77.1. So if I had to bank on one guy taking the next step, it would be Theo Jackson, and also because of what Brian Flores has to say on him. Saying anyone who watches Theo work from a meeting standpoint, from a training standpoint, from just an understanding of concepts and knowledge of the game, I think he's starting to put a lot of things together, and he's growing in confidence, which comes with preparation, and he prepares to fight, or he prepares the right way, and it's showing up on the field. That was actually after the Seahawks game this past season. And listen, he's going to have a massive role on this team because, the Vikings last year ran safeties and ran 3 safeties on the field, 97% of defensive snaps. So obviously still got top 2 dogs in this group, Harrison Smith, Josh Metellus. We talk about versatility. Josh Metellus is an absolute sicko. He can play every position on defense. But then that third guy, it's going to have to be Theo. He's going to have to step up and make plays for this team. I think he will. I've always been a fan of Theo Jackson. And honestly, I think he's going to be a fan favorite here in a couple of years. Like, I could see him being like a, Zendejo type of guy, or like a, the next Cam Bynum, where it's like that free safety next to Harrison Smith that all fans just fall in love in because he's, picking off 7 balls a year. So hopefully Theo does that same thing. But number 2 for me, and this may be, I don't want to say a shocker for people, but since he already is kind of a well-known commodity, well-known player in the league, but I'm going to go Byron Murphy Jr. here as number 2. And the biggest reason why I have him as a breakout candidate, because I think the Vikings are banking on Murph taking another step, where last year, best of his career by far, especially compared to his 2023 season when he was terrible. But I'm sure this coaching staff and this front office giving him that 3-year extension, they're probably banking on Byron Murphy not just being a true cornerback 1, but one of the better cornerback 1s in the NFL. And if he does take that next step where it's like, hey, undisputed, Byron Murphy's a top 7, top 10 cornerback, that would be massive for this defense. And, same thing with Murph, with Theo Jackson. He's an extremely versatile player. He did play 300 snaps at the slot corner, but again, his bread and butter, playing on the outside, 643 snaps there. And I guess that's the one thing about the Vikings that's going to be interesting. Who really gets that slot corner nod? Is it Isaiah Rodgers? We'll see. I think he'll probably be up there for it. But still, Byron Murphy was absolutely fantastic for the Vikes. And, he's a versatile player, and I just think he could potentially just take that next step. He's in the prime of his career. If he just has another good year, plays better than he did last, it could be huge for this defense. We'll dive into 3 more breakout candidates here in a second, but we got a sweet deal for you guys where Vikings hoodies and sweatshirts are up to 50% off at chatsports.com/Vikings hoodie. So if you guys want to take advantage of this deal and get a sweet new Vikings hoodie today, just click that link. It'll be in the comments section and description of today's show. But chatsports.com/Vikings hoodie. Click that link and get yourself a Vikings hoodie today. I'm going to be rocking one of these probably take advantage of this deal. I love this one they have, but they got a ton of great stuff. So if you guys want to take advantage, chatsports.com/Vikings hoodie. Link for that in the comment section and description of today's show. Number 3 for me, we're going to go the edge rusher, Dallas Turner, for this one. Listen, Dallas Turner, he obviously did not live up to that first-round expectations we had on him last year, but I think that was mainly just because he played 302 snaps this past season. Like, he wasn't on the field a whole lot, and I just think the Vikings need to find a way to get him on the field more. Like, and you know, they're in a tough spot because obviously you got Van Ginkel, Grenard. They're not leaving the field. They're playing about 1,000% of snaps or 100% of snaps next season. But I do think you got to find a way where it's maybe you move back Van Ginkel into more of a linebacker primary role, where then him being a true edge is his secondary role. But you just got to find a way to get number 15 out there on the football field more. And also Turner last year, he flashed in big time spots. Like the one play I always remember with Turner is against Darnell Wright when he kind of bent that corner. He got super low where you actually see his knee skim the turf at US Bank Stadium. He got right underneath Darnell Wright. That was a massive play. So you definitely saw the first round talent for him. And also this guy's 22 years, or I think he's just about to turn 22 years old. He might still be 21 as we're filming this. But Turner, if he has a massive year, it'd be huge for this defense. But number 4, I'm going to go another guy on defense. Just realized we got 4 defensive players here to start. I'm going to go Isaiah Rodgers. Now, Isaiah Rodgers, I've used this comparison on the show a couple of times where Rodgers, like, he is always graded out extremely, extremely well, according to PFF. But that always came with limited action. And I've used this comparison. He's like a guy in the NBA who scores, 15 points a game, and he's incredibly efficient. Now, can you take that 15 a game and you up it to 23 a game and still be as efficient? That's going to be the question mark with Isaiah Rodgers because he hasn't played a whole lot. Just spot starts last year with the Eagles. So clearly the Vikings believe in him, and more specifically, Brian Flores does. This was actually coming in from Kevin O'Connell talking about the signing of Isaiah Rodgers, saying Isaiah was a guy that Flo really identified pretty early. And historically, I haven't been doing this long with Flo, but when Flo kind of has that tone in his voice about guys, I'm not going to mention the other ones that he has had in that voice about, but he's pretty darn accurate. And that guy, whether playing for us or somebody else, has immediately shown up. So no pressure on Isaiah, but he definitely got that evaluation from Flo. And, just keep it simple. If Flo likes him, I like him. And, here were the PFF grades I was talking about with Rodgers this past season. 76 overall grade. That was 21st. Run defense, 80.6. That was 14th in the league. Coverage grades, 74 overall. That was 31st. So clearly he has been very, very effective. And, it's just simple. Like, I can't scout corners nearly as well as, Brian Flores. So Flores is in on Rodgers. I'm in on Rodgers. I think he could potentially be a breakout guy for this team where it's like, oh, snap, we got one of the best slot cornerback 2s in the league. If he takes that next step, again, this team would be absolutely awesome. But let's close this out with a running back here. Actually, we're going to talk about Jordan Mason. Now, Jordan Mason, I think he's one of those guys on this team where, if you're talking like fantasy football with your friends, you're just talking like some of the top running backs in the league, like your mind normally doesn't go right away to Jordan Mason. But I think this, and it's not really a hot take in my opinion, I think Jordan Mason will be viewed as a top 10 running back in the NFL next year. And I think we're going to get to a point in the season where Mason's the clear one, where maybe he's not getting, 80% or 90% of the carries, but maybe he's getting a solid 60, 65%. And Aaron Jones fills in behind him. But I think Jordan Mason's going to have a monster year. Vikes are going to lean more into the run game, which they obviously should. You got no excuse this year. 2 good running backs, great offensive line. You got weapons on the outside to take pressure off the run game. I think he's going to have a monster year. I think he could also be flirting with an 1,000-yard season. But you guys let me know. Over under 1,000 yards for Jordan Mason. Give me an O for over or give me a U for under. You guys let me know your thoughts down below in the comments section. Now, if you guys also want to hit me up on Twitter, that's a handle right there, at Pat Sieps. Give me a follow over there. If you guys a follow right on back. But we will see you guys next time. Thank you so much for watching today's show. As always, Skol Vikes. Alrighty. Did we lose internet? No? Maybe it's just my laptop. I thought we went out right there. Alrighty. What's going on, guys? I can't see the chat, but that's fine. Let me just try to hop back on the Wi-Fi there. At least it went out from my end. as I think we're back. Are we back? Can I see your beautiful profile pictures in the chat? And I can. All right, we're good. How are you going to leave Blackman and Jackson off that list? Talked about Theo Jackson. He was the first one. Now, I was going to do Mekhi Blackman, but I wanted to highlight Isaiah Rodgers. Lag for a bit. Okay, yeah. Thought I lost you guys. I was getting a little scared. Now, I was going to choose Isaiah Rodgers or Mekhi Blackman, but I just talked about Mekhi Blackman a whole lot this offseason, so wanted to show the man, Isaiah Rodgers, some love. Hashtag Vikings. If J.J. McCarthy is a bust, would you think of tanking? Absolutely not. First off, he's not going to be a bust, so we don't need to worry about that. Can't get rid of us that quickly. Z Cool, I'll never want to get rid of you, man. No, but like even like worst case scenario, let's just say JJ is abducted by aliens and he is kidnapped and he can't play in the season. Not going to say the words, but you guys get what I'm putting down. And Sam Howell has to start the whole year. This team's too good to tank. Like, one, tanking doesn't happen in the NFL just because how physical the game is, and these guys are playing for their careers every single week. Like, what do you tell Javon Hargrave, Jonathan Allen, Ryan Kelly, Brian O'Neill, Harrison Smith? What are you going to tell Harrison Smith if you want to tank? Hey, I know you came back for one more year. You're going to retire after this. Yeah, I don't know. I still think Sam Howell, like Corey Miller says, with how good this team is and how good Kevin O'Connell is, I still think Sam Howell is good enough to get us to 8-9 wins. Fight, Z Cool. Yeah, this team's got a lot of fight in them. There's no doubt, but we'll get into a mailbag here. Hashtag Vikings in the live chat or super chat to get up on today's show. Almost $50 already in super chats today. That's awesome. Appreciate y'all. Yeah, exactly, James. The team doesn't revolve around the quarterback. Oh, by the way, we got some big-time news for you guys. Dylan and I, we will be going live here on the channel if the Timberwolves and the Thunder get to a Game 7. So we're going to do like a little, just how we do our watch parties during the year for the Vikings, we'll do it for the Timberwolves. So would you guys be down for that? I would be pretty excited for it. I think it would be pretty damn cool. Plus, hopefully the Timberwolves freaking beat the Thunder. I can't stand watching them play. So you guys would be down for that? Just want to get the pulse of the fans in the live chat right now, all 55 of you. But Joey saying yes. GR8V7 saying yes, sir. Corey, that'd be a good first time, man. We get to watch Ant. I mean, it would be Game 7. I would be absolutely fired up. But we would be live on our main channel, so I'm going to try not to be biased towards the Timberwolves, but I say that, and I'm going to get a quarter in. I'm going to be probably cursing out SGA. But, yeah, so if you guys are down for that, just let me know. I think it'll be a good time. All right, we'll do a last call here on the mailbag, and we'll hop on out of here. Hashtag Vikings or Super Chat to get up on the show. If you guys haven't asked a question already, please do so. Hashtag Vikings in the live chat. If you guys want to be featured in one of our mailbags, this will be seen by a lot of Vikings fans. So if you guys got a hot take or anything around the Minnesota Vikings you want to get off your chest, hashtag Vikings or Super Chat to get up on the show. Would really appreciate it. If you guys got a question in there, hot take, no matter what it is, or just a random question. Hey, Patrick, what's your favorite food? What do you think about yada, yada, yada? Whatever it may be, get a question in there. I'd appreciate that. Connor, Tommy Wood, James, Corey Miller, Joey Tana, get a question in there for me. Want to chop it up with y'all. Mark Dickmente. It's a good name. Shout out to you in the building. Z Cool. I know you got a question in there, but if you could, get another one. If you guys are ready to roll, Tommy Wood saying you expect JJ to start quick or by midseason hit prime. I mean, he'll get better week to week, but I still think he'll make a big time impact week 1. From New Jersey, big Knicks fans, hoping for a Knicks Timberwolves finals. That would be chills, dude. Dylan, producer, is actually a Knicks fan as well, and it all would go back to the Julius Randle, Karl Anthony Towns trade. It would be awesome. Also, it would just be cool to have Ant versus Brunson in the Garden. The Knicks come in the small market Minnesota. Dante, yes, Dante versus Nova Boys. That would probably be actually the storyline I'm following the most is, well, will Dante play in that series? He has been terrible. My guy 3 Vincenzo needs to get it going, but I think he will. James, you're going 12-plus wins for the Vikes? I hope so. But you guys ready to go? Let's do a mailbag, chop it up about the Vikes, and hashtag Vikings in the live chat or super chat to get up on the show. But Dylan, if you're ready to rock, let's dive on into it. Let's do it. Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome into the show. My name is Patrick Siepman, and coming up on today's show, we got a mailbag. My favorite video I do every single week here on the channel, which is me and you chopping it up about the Minnesota Vikings. And Grease the Lightning coming in with the first question, saying, what is a shocking move the Vikings can make before the season? Shocking move. Good question here. So thinking outside the box, I'm not going to say like sign Asante Samuel, sign Rasul Douglas. I don't even want to say what just popped in my head because people are going to get pissed. I was going to say they trade Jordan Addison. I don't think it's going to happen at all, but that would be a shocking move. How about trade for Jalen Ramsey? A positive. Yeah, that would be that's what I'll go for. Trading for Jalen Ramsey would be a shocking move. I don't think the Vikes will do it, but maybe they want to shore up that cornerback position a little more. Toss a 4th or 5th round pick. Go get Jalen Ramsey. A lot of baggage around him right now. Apparently he's showing up late to team meetings, showing up late to practices, but I think if you get him in the Vikings culture, get him invested, he could be a lot more, locked in. So let's say a shocking move they make is like either trade in Addison or they go trade for like a Jalen Ramsey, something along those lines. Alrighty, next question coming in here from Corey Miller. What's going on, Brody? Saying, been 2 weeks since last live. Pat Seeps, shout out to you. Skull, how have you been keeping? Any worries this season? I've been keeping good, Corey. Thanks for tuning in. Any worries about the season? Not really. I think the Vikes are going to be set up for success. I think their floor is extremely high, but if I had to kind of play like doomsday scenarios here, like obviously J.J. McCarthy looking like a complete bust, that would be an awful situation. Or, mainly just the schedule coming out of the bye, because you go Philly and you go like to Detroit, and it's like you're back home against the Ravens, and then I think it's like you're in Seattle, then it's like you got Washington. It's a brutal stretch. So I think just a combination of like, maybe McCarthy doesn't get rolling right away. Vikes start like 2-3, and then it's like you're coming out of the bye and you got like a gauntlet of a schedule. Those would be some concerns I have, but I think this team's loaded. I think they have one of the best rosters in the league. I think J.J. McCarthy is going to be a stud. So, I fall asleep at night, with a free mind, knowing where the Vikings are at. But Z Cool coming in with the next question. Hashtag Vikings. I'm glad we don't speak of Aaron anymore. Will he sign with Pittsburgh or Saints or retire? Yeah, thank God we don't need to talk of Aaron Rodgers anymore. Also, Diana Rossini. Side note, Z-Cool, and then I'll get to your question. My bad. I just need to say this. Diana Rossini has had one of the worst off seasons I've ever seen for a reporter in possibly NFL history. Like even today, when we're filming this on Wednesday, she was saying the Tush push was for sure going to get banned. That did not happen. She said Roger Goodell is going to get a massive extension. That did not happen. She said Aaron Rodgers is going to the Minnesota Vikings. That did not happen. So she did not have a good offseason. But what will happen with Raj? I think he's going to go to the Steelers or retire. I don't think he's got any interest in the Saints. But my bold prediction for the year, Mike Tomlin's never had a season below 500. Aaron Rodgers will grant him his first season below 500. That'll be my hot take. But Z-Cool, I appreciate you, man. Shout out to you. Alrighty, Joey saying top 5 groups of offensive linemen this year. Also, Wolves in 7. Who do you got? Knicks, Pacers. Give me the Knicks in, I want to say Knicks in 6, just because that's what's been going on the last 2 series. But I'm going to go Knicks in 7 over the Pacers. I think the deciding factor is going to be Jalen Brunson's the best player on the court. But talking about the top 5 offensive lines in the league, Detroit still up there. Detroit and Philly, probably 1-2 in my eyes. Number 3, Chargers are up there. They had a good offseason getting Becton and, Joe Alt a year older, Rashawn Slater a year older, so they're up there. I mean, Green Bay's always had a good offensive line. I think the Vikings do crack that top 5, though. I just think they're probably in that 5 spot. 4, I'm going to throw a shocker out there, or maybe not a shocker. I think the Dallas Cowboys are going to get back to having one of the most dominant offensive lines in the league. 3 first-round picks, all named Tyler. I think they're going to have a good year. Even like the Jets, I know they have a very good offensive line, but I think the Vikings definitely crack that top 5. I'm trying to think there's any team I'm just completely sleeping on right now. Bills had a good offensive line last year, but yeah, I still think the top 2 dogs in the league are the Eagles and the Lions in terms of best offensive line. Rocky, coming in. What's going on? Do you expect a bigger year from Hawk? I would hope he has a bigger year. I mean, didn't have a touchdown until garbage time of the Rams game. I think him coming off that torn ACL definitely slowed his game down a little bit because he had a lot of 50-50 catch opportunities last year, especially in that Lions game, Week 18, where I understand Darnold was absolutely terrible, but also Hawk didn't do him any favors. So he should have a bigger year, but if he doesn't, he probably gets cut. This time next offseason, if Hawk doesn't bounce back, and it's not like, okay, TJ Hawkinson's still an undisputed top 7 tight end in the league, he'll probably get cut from the Vikes, but if he has a good year, they're probably going to keep him around. J.J. McCarthy had a great connection with Colston Loveland in college. He loves the tight end position. Hawk was actually comparing McCarthy to Stafford, so they already have that kind of connection there. So 100%, whatever Hawk's numbers were last season, I expect them to be a whole lot better this next year. But speaking above X factors like TJ Hawkinson, you guys let me know. Who is the biggest X factor on the Vikings next season? J.J. McCarthy's the obvious answer. But besides him, I'm going to go Kevin O'Connell. I think KOC. Huge X factor for the Vikes next season. But you guys let me know who's the biggest X factor on the Vikes next season. We'll dive into more of your questions here in a second, but first, I got to give a massive shout-out to today's sponsor, and that is Prize Picks. Now, if you guys download the Prize Picks app today and plug in promo code CLNS, you guys will get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Now, cash in on the basketball playoffs with Prize Picks. Don't miss your last chance to add your favorite players from the court to your Prize Picks lineup, whether it's points, rebounds, assists. Take your pick of more or less for your shot to win up to 2,000 times your cash today. Now, if you guys don't know what Prize Picks is, it's the best place to turn your sports knowledge into cash. Millions of members. Prize Picks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. You just pick more or less on at least 2 players for a shot to win up to 2,000 times your cash today. Run your game all season long on Prize Picks. Now, obviously with the Timberwolves taking on the Thunder, I'm going to be hammering the Anthony Edwards more on his points for the rest of the series, coming off a bad game 1. But hey, if you guys want to get $50 instantly in your Prize Picks account, just download the app today, plug in promo code CLNS for $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. But massive shout out to Prize Picks for sponsoring today's show. Prize Picks, run your game. Amazing question coming in from my guy Z Cool saying, #Vikings. Will Justin Jefferson make the Olympic flag football team? I think he's going to be the captain. I think he's going to be carrying out the American flag, and I'm all in for it. I saw some Vikings fans freaking out, be like, what if Jefferson gets hurt in the Olympics? If he gets hurt, he gets hurt. I think it would be awesome for him to go represent his country, win a gold medal. And you got to think about these guys, like they're competitors, they're athletes, and they're trying to stack up accolades. And if Jefferson could say, I won the first gold medal for flag football, he's going to want to do it. So I think he'll definitely make the team. If I had to go like my dream 3 wide receiver trio for the Olympics, it would be Jefferson and Jamar Chase, easily top 2. I think I'm going to stick with the LSU boys. I think I would go Malik Neighbors, number 3. He's a burner, great 50-50 catch guy. I would probably go the 3 LSU boys, Neighbors, Jefferson, and Chase. Terry coming in. #Vikings. Does Max Brosmer have a legit chance to make the team? He's got a chance. I don't think it's that likely. I'll probably put it at like 2%. Sam Howell, J.J. McCarthy locks, and I think that third quarterback will be Brett Rippon. He was with the team last year. He understands the offense. I know a lot of us want Max Brosmer to make it just because, Minnesota guy, played for the Golden Gophers the last couple of seasons. So I totally get that, but he'll probably be the practice squad quarterback. He'll get some great reps, though, going against that Brian Flores defense. But Probably not this year, maybe next year. Maybe, the Vikings could view him as like the quarterback 2 behind McCarthy for the future. So he'll have a legit chance in preseason to go earn his stripes. I just don't know how likely it is for him to make the final 53-man roster. Cohen B, do you think Sam Darnold will be able to succeed in Seattle with the elite supporting cast that he had in Minnesota? I mean, that's the question of the offseason, right? If you're a Seahawks fan. Now, I think Darnold will still be pretty damn successful. I don't know how successful. I think his ceiling is definitely limited, being outside of Kevin O'Connell. He's got Clint Kubiak. I mean, I'd rather have Josh McCown than Clint Kubiak, for example. But I think he'll still be successful. I'll put it like this. Last year for Sam Darnold was the best season we will ever see. He will never throw 35 touchdowns again. He'll never win 14 games. He'll never be as impactful as he was with the Minnesota Vikings. So I think he'll be successful. I just don't think it will be near as successful as he was with the Vikes. Roger Bong, what's going on, Brody? Who would you sign if you had one more signing left for this team? Must be under the cap. Probably go cornerback position. A Rasul Douglas, an Asante Samuel Jr. I'll even throw out there like a Keenan Allen type of signing at the wide receiver 3 spot. I think that would be a solid move. Get that veteran in there. But honestly, I wouldn't make another move if I was the Vikes. Any extra cap you have, let's roll it over in the next season. How about this, Raj? You call up Stephon Gilmore in August. Season's 2 weeks away. Yo, Stephon, you still down to play a couple of games or one more season with us? Okay, that's who you give your extra $4 million to. So I think I would go corner, Douglas, Asante, or give me Stephon Gilmore. Oh, this is a great question. It's Rolio. If this Vikings draft class doesn't work out, do you think we trash Quezzy? I mean, we 100% would. Again, if it's trash, like Donovan Jackson's unplayable. Ty Felton's terrible. And then Tieran Ingram Dawkins, Kobe King, Gavin Bartholomew, those 3 are just not NFL players. Yeah, we would all be trashing Quezzy, but I wouldn't want to fire him if this draft class sucks. I think, honestly, what would get Quezzy fired is if Dallas Turner and J.J. McCarthy are bust. Because you spent a lot of draft picks on those 2 last season. You had the trade up for both of them. Those are probably the 2 guys that could get Quezzy fired. But yeah, I don't really think this draft class, you had 4 picks, 24, 97, and a couple in the 150s. So it's not like he had a lot to work with. But I mean, if all of those guys don't end up working out, yeah, we'll be saying he's probably the worst drafter in the NFL. And you just can't build a Super Bowl team without building through the draft somewhat. So I do think, though, it more comes down to JJ and Dallas Turner. GR8 V7. What's going on, Brody? Awesome profile picture, by the way. Would you rather have Asante Samuel Jr. or Rasul Douglas or go for a different position? Out of those 2 corners, I'd rather go Asante Samuel. Rasul Douglas was terrible last year. Asante obviously got hurt dealing with a shoulder, neck injury. No real specifics on that, but people are concerned for him. I wouldn't go different position. I would go corner. I think I would just go Asante Samuel. But again, I'm in the camp. Vikings don't need to sign anybody. I would say just kind of stand pat and maybe call a guy like Gilmore in August. But we appreciate all of you guys for watching today's mailbag. And if you guys made it to the end of today's show, hit me with a skull down below in the comments section. Appreciate all of you guys for tuning in today. But also, if you guys got more questions for me, hit me up on Twitter or X, the handle @PatSeeps. See y'all next time. As always, Skull Vikes. Alrighty. Appreciate all of you guys tuning in. Nice little hour and 10-minute live show. I did not go live last week. That was when the schedule was coming out. We had a lot of work to do here at the office, so we just focused on that. But KP Beast, my bad. What's up, Pat? Just hopping in. What's up, man? We are actually about to sign off here on the channel. Just thank you guys so much for the support recently. Dog days of the off season, as we all know, but still, you guys tuning in every single week is awesome. So we're gonna get on out of here. We appreciate all of you guys for tuning in. Best fans in the world. Corey Miller, you can't say that to me. You can't say that to me, or else I'm gonna go do a watch party in Dublin. I wish, man. I wish. I would love to take a 2-week vacation. If I wasn't working in sports, and then I'm saying this and I'm signing off. I know, Corey. I know. If I didn't work in sports and I didn't cover the Vikings, I would be over there in Dublin for that whole week, and then I would just stay in London, and I'd be over there for the all 2 weeks. Just risk it. Should I quit my job, and then you guys never see me again, but I get to go see Corey Miller in Dublin? And I wish. That'll be a lot of fun, but go live there. I know. Fortunately, it doesn't work like that. We got a job to do. Corey, you should. If you're across the pond, man, you should definitely do that. GR8 saying, how often do you live stream? Every Wednesday at around 4 o'clock. Technology is amazing. I know. We can make it work, but we'll see. But we're going to get on out of here. Shout out to all the real ones. We appreciate you guys. Skol Vikes, baby.